Hello and welcome to Kurious City. My name is Letty and I'm one of the co-founders of Kurious Arts. This is a podcast all about encouraging people to get curious about what's going on creatively across the city. I will be talking to a collection of individuals and organisations and companies that are making an impact, and it's all about trying to encourage you to get off the sofa and get out into the world. Let's have a listen to who we're talking to today. Hello and welcome to Kurious City. Today in the studio, I'm delighted to say that we've got Chloe Longden with us. She's an illustrator and animator, and she's going to tell me a little bit about who she is and what makes her tick and all about her work and process. Chloe, hello.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I'm just going to explain to the listeners that I send out a questionnaire. I think I've said that before, but I ask people a rather horrid question of trying to tell us who you are in 10 words. And I think this is the first one I've come across where you left it blank. Can I ask why?
I didn't realise that was part of the questionnaire. I thought you meant like 10 words per question.
Oh, I see. Okay, so that's a lack of clarity on my part. Okay. Oh, I see. Okay, I thought it was quite succinct.
Yeah, I thought that was like the point.
Thought you were. Oh no, I thought you were being sort of mysteriously vague.
I wish.
Fine. Okay. Well, if you could you describe yourself in 10 words? Talk about being put on the spot. Or you could just tell us a bit about what you do and your background.
Yeah, I'll try that one. I'm not very good at defining myself. I am an illustrator and animator. I work in Sheffield as a sort of independent freelancer. I'm still trying to build on myself and my brand. I've been doing it for about 2 years since I graduated from uni.
Where were you at uni?
I was at Leeds Beckett.
Lovely.
Yeah, I miss it. It was like fun. It was a good time.
Did you live in Leeds while you were there?
Yeah, I lived there the full term of like uni, and then I moved back after to move to Sheffield, and then started like working. And
what was that process like? You know, kind of going from uni into sort of effectively being your own boss and the creative freelance world.
It was really strange. It was hard to sort of keep myself motivated because I have to get my work, I have to put myself out there. So I have to create my own work constantly and update on my social media, and getting myself into that mindset was a bit weird, just going from uni to that.
Because reading the questionnaire, obviously I understand why it was so sparse now, but it struck me that what you do is a really collaborative process. So you've done all sorts of things. You've worked with the Northern Ballet and design projections, and you work with theatre companies and all, you know, obviously writers. So presumably you have to be quite kind of gregarious or on the front foot in terms of making that approach and finding your own work.
Yeah.
Do you find that aspect of it challenging or?
Yeah, definitely. I'm not really one to put myself out there.
Yeah.
So
I think so many creatives can identify with that. Like,
yeah.
It somehow seems like you're showing off in some way, or it sort of goes against Britishness, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of not the done thing.
Yeah, you've got to be proud of your own work and put your own work out there, and it's by doing that and having social media, it's like you're saying, look at this is amazing, and it's like you've got to believe in your own work, but also you can't not get work without doing that.
Yeah,
it's a bit of a weird. Yeah.
Did they help you with that at all at uni? Did they kind of prepare you for that?
Yeah, so towards the end of our degree, when we were creating our graduate films, we handed in our dissertation earlier on in the year, so we were just focusing on our films. That's when they started talking to us about what we can do to start getting our work out there and start making connections and networking. So they talked about like LinkedIn, for example, having your own Facebook and Instagram accounts, websites. We did a lot of website work.
Okay.
And what sort of stuff we should be putting out there and the wording around things.
That's interesting. I mean, I think that's a really useful tool for creatives, like particularly the creatives who have perhaps missed that part of education. So if they've come to the industry late and social media is a new thing for them, or they're just a bit older.
Yeah.
I think we could do with a bit more help on the personal branding and how to actually effectively sell yourself without feeling like you're showing off.
No, yeah, definitely. It's quite a hard skill to have, just in terms of, it's not just about creating the content, it's the wording around it, and it's how often you post and the times of day you post. It's like so much about it that you don't really think about until you have to do it constantly, and then it's how regularly you do it and what content you want to be putting out there, what you're trying to say with your work.
And do you have a sounding board? Like, do you, because I imagine it can be quite isolating as well as, it's collaborative in nature, but do you spend the most of your time when you are writing or illustrating something working from home, or?
Yeah, basically I do sometimes go into like cafes and stuff just to get myself out of the house.
Yeah.
But I have a full-time job at the side as well, so for me that's my social time.
Okay.
And that's like when I get to see my friends, and then I'll do other stuff around that. So when I do work alone. I don't mind it as much.
And this has brought me very nicely on to something that really came through on the questionnaire, and that is your passion for film. You mention it, I think, at least 4 times.
Oops.
No, not oops. It's great. Is this something that's always been a part of you?
I'm not sure. I think it has to an extent. I did animation at university, so that was a very film-based course because it was part of the Northern Film School.
Yeah.
So it was ran alongside the film course there, where we had lectures with the film students and we made films with them.
Okay.
So it was definitely like a thing, an underlying like interest. But it wasn't until I started working in independent cinema that I then started, basically in the past sort of year or so, I've delved into it so much more and found more information about it. I just love it, like learning about it and just watching so many different types of film and making myself do it. Because I used to just be really picky, but now I'll try most things.
What, you'll go and see anything?
Yeah, I've started to like just watch stuff out of curiosity more than anything.
That's a word we like very much here.
And it's definitely... I'm glad I've started, like, this past year I've watched my first documentary on, like, the big screen, like, watched my first foreign language film, and...
Great, so it's really opened up
massively.
a whole new world of inspiration for you, really,
yes,
then, hasn't
definitely.
it?
And now I'm starting to wonder about taking a career in that industry, because
you're
such a passion for it.
To program a bit, or you're working with the programming team, you said?
A little bit, yeah. I'm trying to... Yeah, I worked with the Celluloid Screams Horror Film Festival in October, and I was doing the print traffic coordinator job, which was about getting the films safely to the cinema.
Gosh, it's all this kind of unseen process that it never even occurred to me that would be something someone had to do.
Yeah, same. It wasn't until they put the job out there I was like, oh, that sounds quite fun. And when it says print traffic, I was like, oh, that'll be like posters. No, it was like film, and it was properly talking to loads of different distributors and sales agents from like all over the world. So I was talking to people in like Germany and America, and it was mad. And I had to like try and keep them all together, and I was completely like looking after them all and contacting them all. It was...
Gosh, it sounds like a brilliant opportunity.
It was great. I loved it.
And that's Celluloid Screams. Tell us a bit about that then. What's that for those people who don't know?
It's a horror film festival, solely from Sheffield, and it was started in Sheffield, and it's built up over the past few years. I think it's been running nearly 10 years now. Yeah.
So it's become quite a cult thing.
Oh god, yeah. Most people come like every year, and they'll just put so many interesting films on. I'm not like a huge fan of horror. I was going to say,
are you a horror buff?
Not really, but this film festival was the first time I watched a horror film like in the cinema. And I was like, this is really cool. And the atmosphere is mad, like, because everyone's there and they're only there to watch horror films, so it's all horror people. Like,
and is there a specific type? Could you identify a horror person? You think? No.
Nah.
Completely eclectic.
Yeah, like most people you wouldn't even realise are like really into it. Like sometimes it's obvious, but like some of the people I know that are like really, really into horror, if you looked at them, you would never ever think that.
Yeah, I've got a very, very straight-laced friend who's a teacher, and she absolutely loves horror. I had to go to the cinema with her once. I spent the entire time with my eyes half shut and my fingers in my ears, because it's the sounds that get me.
Yeah,
it's all that jumping business.
It's the music. The
like music, exactly.
Build up the tension. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I'm really bad at watching them, so I have to be really careful. And I was like, "Is this one scary?" And they were like, "It's fine, just watch it." And it was fine. It wasn't a great film, but it was fine and
did the job.
Yeah, but it was more about the atmosphere, like the being there as part of a festival.
And how long is it happening in this year?
Yeah, it happens every year in October. For 3 days. It's like towards the end of October.
Halloween.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it towards the end of October? Yeah.
I don't know. Is it?
Yeah, so it's I'm trying to remember when it was, but yeah, it's like towards the end of October, like mid-October, and then they just run it for like 3 days over the weekend.
I think I might have to get myself there, confront some of the fears.
It's really fun. It's a good opportunity to like go and sit and be part of something, because most film festivals it's just any genre of film. So it's nice that this one is purely horror.
You know, whatever you go to. And there's quite an eclectic remit within that genre, isn't there?
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many different types of films that you can have with that.
So, film aside, how did you get into animation originally? Like, have you always loved drawing or illustrating? Is that a big part of, like, where did it all come from?
Yeah, so I illustrated pretty much my whole life. I've always drawn. I wasn't great when I was a kid, obviously, but
no, I don't think anyone is.
Yeah, exactly. But I did fine art during school and did GCSE fine art, then took A-level fine art, and I really wanted to be a vet for ages. And like,
quite different, isn't it?
Yeah, and I was like adamant I was going to be a vet. Like I volunteered at like a veterinary clinic for like a whole year. I was like, I'm going to be a vet, and I took on like the science. I did like extra science classes to do it.
Gosh, that's dedication.
Yeah, I was like super.
Nothing would make me do double physics.
And I was like, yeah, I'm doing this. And then I got like really good grades in my GCSEs, and I was going to take biology, chemistry, art and photography at A-level, but the timetable didn't match, so I couldn't take all of them. So I had to decide then if I wanted.
Fate intervened.
Yeah, basically. And I had to decide, did I want to do... I wanted to do vet, but I couldn't have done it without having art. Art was my outlet.
Yeah.
It was my way of expressing myself.
But that the natural world, it comes into your work, doesn't it? Like you draw lots of natural things. There's animals and plants, and you reference plants as one of your inspirations, and the fact that one of your favourite things about the city is the fact it's so green, and you go to the botanical gardens with your mum.
Yeah.
So do you think it's a kind of way of taking that interest and bringing it into your work? Do you focus a lot on animals, or?
I never really thought about it like that, but yeah, I mean, I've been vegetarian my whole life.
Have you?
Yeah, and I've recently, like June, I think, I started being vegan. So animals are a massive part of my life.
Have you got any animals?
No, not me personally. My family does.
Yeah.
I wish I could have animals.
What would you have?
I'd have everything, but
a zoo.
Yeah, basically. I could have like a zoo. That'd be my happiest place. But I'd love a cat, definitely.
I would also love a cat.
They're just so great.
They are great.
But my mum has a dog, and then my dad has a cat, and I love them both. They're the best.
They are the best. Animals they're just so relaxing, aren't they? Well, obviously some aren't. Hippos, I gather, are quite vicious. Anyway, luckily probably don't get many of those in Sheffield. So we've talked a bit about the fact that you're really passionate about movies and the natural world and plants and animals, and that they inspire your work. But you also mention that you're inspired by, you've written here, women, LGBT, feminism, equality and femme. So would you say that social activism is an important part of your work? Does that feature in it?
Yeah, it's definitely something that I'm starting to explore, and I want to look more into in this year. I've put it as one of my goals to start just being more braver in like creating work that actually is something I believe in.
And is it with a specific project in mind, or is it just a seed of an idea?
It's
or
mixture.
An intention?
I've got like some seeds of ideas for myself, but I'm also doing some work. So I'm working with Girl Gang currently.
Amazing.
We're doing a party in March.
I love a party.
And it's
my birthday's in March. Oh, this is boding very well.
Yeah. Well, you should come.
I will.
It's a period party, but it's basically it's working with SheFest, and
amazing.
It's to end the period poverty gap. So it's about getting people to bring sanitary products and things that they're giving to charities.
What a brilliant idea.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. I'm really excited to like be working with them. So I'm creating the poster currently, and then I'm going to be working with the event, which I'm so excited to be doing it.
And where's it taking place?
It's going to be at Dina on the 7th of March.
Okay, fantastic.
Definitely something to like worth looking at, and it's for everyone as well. We want to be as all inclusive as possible, but one of the things we've been talking about is the poster that I'm creating. It's how much do you make it about, because I've drawn like a cartoon womb basically with like tampons and moon cups flying out.
Great.
And it's like, great,
does the job.
Yeah, but then it's like, is this too feminine? Are we not being as inclusive as we want to be? It's that question of trying to
find that balance of not trying to be embarrassed or cover something up, or not be explicit about what the point of it, but also just trying to make it as inclusive as you say.
Yeah, that's like the biggest thing we're discussing at the minute, and just wanting to be as inclusive as we possibly can, really, and finding that balance is really hard.
So if people want to find out more about this period party, where is it going to be? It's
going to be through like the Facebook event, so it'll be Girl Gang Sheffield.
Great.
They'll be announcing it soon, probably going to be towards the end of January. They want to announce it.
Great.
So and then they'll be it'll be like, I think it's a ticketed event, and then to bring like sanitary products with you, and then you get like a little present if you do that, which is really cute.
Oh, what a great idea.
Yeah.
Definitely coming to that.
It's gonna be cool. Like they're creating like decorations and stuff that are all like sanitary products.
Sanitary based.
Yeah, which is quite an interesting concept.
Yeah.
It's
quite a good brief, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be real fun. But yeah, that's working with SheFest as well, which is really cool. And then they're doing something again in April, which is for like eco. It's part of the eco. I can't remember what it's called. It's like they're doing like a week in April that's promoting sustainability, and it's like to do with sustainable clothing and things like that. So they're running like another event.
Is the SheFest or Girl Gang?
Which will be in, I don't remember the date of that one, but that one's in April. And that's going to have a panel discussion and a clothes swap and a fashion show with like local designers that are doing
brilliant
like sustainable fashion and promoting sustainable fashion and how to do it and like affordably and how to do it practically.
Great. And is that all the info is going to be on their Facebook?
Yeah, so that will be announced later on as well, and everything that they announce is like through their social media, so it's something to keep an eye on. So like Girl Gang Sheffield, they've got some really fun stuff coming up.
Yeah.
So
brilliant. I'm glad you've told us about that. I did hear mention of something called Echo.
Yeah.
What's that?
So I've sort of been working on something myself, and that's like a very self-funded project at the minute, where I basically it's like I want it to be a TV show for like kids.
Okay.
I think currently that's like the plan. But I've noticed, because I volunteer at Children's Media Conference every year.
Amazing.
I've done that for the past 2 years now, and I loved going to it because you learn so much about the industry, and networking opportunities are insane.
That's coming up. Is that coming up fairly soon? No, it's not that soon, is it? July, yeah.
That's like the first week in July. But one of the things they talk about is, so they have like panel discussions and things, and it's not just about how to get to where you're going or what people are creating, it's about selling stuff as well, but also common themes in the industry and what we want to start
educating our children about through creative means,
basically. And one of the things we talked about was the common themes was like eco-anxiety in kids, because a lot of kids are now becoming eco-warriors.
It must be terrifying.
Yeah. I mean, imagine, like, you're, 12, 13, you're hearing about the planet dying, and you're like, what do we do? Yeah, and you've got parents that might not be as aware of it as you are, and it's about trying to change the way the families run and how they are at home, and changing like the government and things, and these kids have got it's their future, and it must be so terrifying. And all these like activists now are like, there's so many young activists, and it's amazing. They're all taking it into their own hands.
Gosh, it's so inspiring, isn't it?
It
does make me think, what on earth have I been doing?
Oh god, yeah. I'm like, I'm clearly missing something.
Putting us to shame.
Yeah, but so that's like one of the things, and also just representation and diversity is still not enough. We're not getting enough of it in children's media. They don't feel represented, and that's not okay.
No.
So I wanted to create something that tackles both those issues. So I've created like a little story. It's not a little story. It's quite a big
story.
Yeah, I think it's maybe a bit ambitious, but we'll see. But I'm quite excited by it, and it's like something I pretty much came with the idea like last July, and I've just sort of been running with it since.
So will you be pitching it this year?
I want to try and get it to a point where I can pitch it. I would really love to.
And are you collaborating with anyone on
it? Yeah, I think I'm sort of looking
on the lookout.
Yeah, I've not definitely decided. I'm really, really like proud and private with it.
I'm not surprised.
And I really want to hold on to it and make it as personal as I can. So I'm very careful with who I talk to about it. Yeah. And now I'm just like talking about it on like a podcast.
Well, it's good because in some ways, because you've sort of half announced it, you'll have to do it now.
Yeah, kind of do.
It's good. You've basically set yourself a public deadline.
Great.
Yeah, it's good. We all need them. All creatives need a deadline.
Yes, it's very true.
And I don't think we should be. I don't think we should be frightened of being ambitious.
No, yeah, definitely. I'm very excited to get started, and like for this year, that's another one of my like goals I've written for like 2020. I want to get that to a point where I could pitch it, and I've written like a script already for like one of the episodes that has been performed, and it got good feedback. I was pretty pleased with it. People did well with it.
I'm not surprised. It sounds great.
Yeah.
Well, I'll keep all my fingers crossed for you.
Thank you. I'm excited to do it.
Good. Now, it says here, because you strike me as a bit of a kind of sort of dichotomy. Can I use that in reference to a person? Probably not, but I've done it anyway. So you love the solitude of watching a movie on your own, and you feel most at home doing that or being with your friends. But you're also, you say that you're most curious about other societies and cultures, and that you'd really love to go travelling. So if I just gave you a massive wodge of air miles, where would you go?
Italy.
Italy? Why?
I've always wanted to go. Like, if I could drop anything, and if I just had money and could just drop everything today, I'd go there immediately. It's such a beautiful country, and the architecture and the art that comes from it, and the food and everything about it. If I ever see anything like on film or TV, it always just makes my heart like, oh, I just love it, and I just would love to go there.
Have you ever been?
No. I never I've literally, it's really sad, like I went on my first aeroplane when I was like 22, so only like a couple of years ago.
Good grief.
And
that's very good for the environment. I salute you.
True. And it was only to like Amsterdam, so it was like half an hour plane journey, and I was like, this is terrifying. But I loved it at the same time, and that was the first time I've been to like France, but only through like the car,
getting on the ferry.
Yeah, and then Amsterdam was the first place outside of like just England or France that I'd ever been. Was it a big shock? No, was so... I went with my 2 best friends for my birthday, and the 3 of us just had like the best time, and I didn't find it... I was more shocked at how comfortable I was.
Yeah.
And how happy I was to just go and explore. But Amsterdam's really inclusive. Like every like the language and stuff, every menu has an English menu, and every sign was like Dutch and then English underneath. And
so you didn't feel like
I felt
like a stranger.
Exactly. And it was just so busy, but everyone today
just great atmosphere.
I was just so happy to be there. It was like electric. I was just like, this is great. I was wandering around, and we just went for like wanders. We didn't really do a lot of things.
I think that's the best place the best way to explore a place is not to have too tight an agenda and try and tick all the tourist boxes.
Yeah.
So is there somewhere specific you go in Rome? Is there somewhere specific you go in Italy?
Now I feel like I have to say Rome.
Don't say
Rome. I'd love to go to Venice. Because it's going to be going in the next few years, which is sad.
It's really sad, isn't it?
Yeah, really, really sad.
So how are you going to get there? You're going to have to go. I'm worried about this now. How to get Chloe to Venice before it sinks? You have to do a crowdfunding fund.
Oh, please do. That would make my life. I would happily just go there, and I would happily just go by myself, just to go and explore and go on the rivers. And
would you draw while you were there? Like, are you inspired by places? Do you draw architecture and buildings and all of that too? Yeah,
I don't do it as much as I would probably like. I do get a little bit bored drawing buildings, but I think if I was in somewhere like that with the amount of architecture and the new buildings to see and the way it all looks, I think I would be really inspired to just draw, and I'd probably just look at like the people and like the squares and things like that.
Yeah, you can't beat an Italian. What's it called? What are those? Piazza. For people watching.
Yeah.
Great. You have to let us know when you go.
Oh, I will, if I ever do.
You will.
I hope so.
I believe in you. Another one of the things that we ask people is what have they last 5 things that they've Googled? The first thing was bars open on a Sunday night, which I really respect. I don't think we allow ourselves to have enough fun on a Sunday.
Yeah.
It's still the weekend, and we should exploit that.
Exactly.
I wondered what you found, and if you had any recommendations for us.
I didn't. I was really sad.
Oh no.
It was, I was with my friends, and we'd been to watch a film, I think, but like the cinema closes at like 11, but then all the bars around close at like 11 or
that's true.
Going on to midnight.
Oh, I see. So it was a proper late night.
Yeah, so it was just like, we just wanted to be out for like just one more drink. It wasn't like an out. It was just, we just wanted to sit and chat about the film.
Nightcap. Do a debrief. Yeah.
And no, nothing was open. It was really sad, and we all just went, okay, bye then.
The party's over. What would you say your favourite day of the week is?
Sunday.
What do you do on a Sunday?
If I'm not working, because I do end up often working, it's my film day.
Yeah.
I love to just back-to-back films.
Have you got a record of how many films you've watched in one session?
I think the most I've done is, well, if I'm by myself, most I do is usually about 3.
It's quite good, isn't it?
But I have done like the Harry Potter marathon, so.
How many is in? I should know. Was it 5, 6, 7,
8?
8. Good God.
Yeah, that was a hard one.
Maybe we should do like a Kurious film marathon and see how long we could last.
Yes.
Oh, producer's written that down. Yeah.
The trick is to like balance it with different genres of film.
That's so true. It's like switching between sweet and savoury, isn't it, when you're snacking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it keeps you interested. You got to like break it up with like a thriller in between, or like a romantic comedy, and then like interesting independent.
Yeah.
And you got to try new ones each time, and then maybe one that you've already seen.
I think I'm going to allow you to curate the bill. It sounds like you definitely qualified.
Programming experience.
Yeah. Yeah, brilliant. Finally, we want to sort of talk about what living and working as a creative, and particularly a creative freelancer, is like in Sheffield. how do you find it? You talk a lot about procrastination and that you are a bit of a demon at procrastinating.
Yeah.
What do you do when you procrastinate? What's your go-to activity?
TV.
Yeah.
Just
naughty.
Yeah. Just watching like endless TV shows.
Yeah.
I'm really bad for just sticking a series on and then just watching it all in like a day.
Can you draw while you're doing that? Not really.
I can, or I convince myself I can, so that I feel like I'm less of a procrastinator.
So what helps? What helps you do that? Like, just have you got any hot tips about when you feel the procrastination kind of tapping you on the shoulder?
I think if I stop myself, I get more annoyed and I find it really hard and I get like art block and things. Okay. So
art block?
Yeah.
Is that like writer's block?
Like writer's block, yeah, basically.
I've never heard of that before.
Really?
Is that like quite a well-known thing?
I don't know. I thought it was.
Just coined a phrase.
I just coined it. I thought it was like a thing. I'm sure like on Instagram, but I follow like loads of artists and they all talk about art blocks, so maybe
I'm going to start using it.
Yeah. I think it makes sense. It's like,
well, yeah,
it's the same as like a writer's block, but art. But it happens like a lot, and a lot of artists struggle with it, because there's so much pressure on you to draw and to create new things, and then you sit there and you look at your piece of paper and you're like, I cannot think of anything to draw. Yeah, unless
you draw from your imagination then.
Sometimes.
Gosh, I'm always very impressed, but I can, just about copy something, but I couldn't just draw out my brain.
Yeah, I don't know. Doing the animation course definitely helped me learn that skill. I have to create characters and things, and I kind of thought about doing character design for a while, so then I just practiced loads, and I think I do it less now. I think I take a lot of inspiration from things around me, films and stuff. And
other people's work.
Yeah.
And you're doing something interesting at the moment. What are you working on at the moment?
So I'm working with Kurious Arts.
Oh. I didn't actually know that.
Yeah, it's
embarrassing for me, isn't it?
So I'm working with a writer who's written a children's book, which is like a science book, and it's such a beautiful book. Like,
this is Emanuela, isn't it?
Yeah, it's illustrated so like with like watercolors, and it just looks really, really beautiful. But it's like a book about science, and it talks about like diatoms and
I don't know what that is.
I mean, yeah, so I was just like, oh, this is really cool, this is really pretty, trying to understand it. But Emanuela's really, really lovely as well, and we've met up once, I think. We're going to be meeting again next week.
So you're collaborating together on a specific project. Is it a new project, or is it this book?
So I don't know about the book. So she's already written the book, and the book is already
illustrated.
Illustrated and made. And what I'm doing is creating a little animation for it to bring it to life.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it should be quite cool. It's something new that I'm trying. I've not done it before.
Great. It's all about experimenting, isn't it?
Exactly. That's like the best thing to do. Just try
have
everything.
Have a bash.
Yeah, just see what you can do with something, because you create with just amazing things if you just experiment and try something.
Yeah, I think we're all too scared to, we've got to stop being frightened of failing and just think, well, what's the worst that can happen? I'll balls it up and then we'll start again. It's fine.
Yeah, but then even if you did that, even if you get to a point and then you mess it up, you can always go back and then recreate it almost, and then try it like, oh, this didn't quite work this time, but maybe next time it will work, or we'll try something else.
Yeah, and you're always going to, I know it's a cliche, but we do learn from our mistakes, don't we? Right. Have you got any parting advice to our creatives in the city?
I don't know.
Any words of inspiration or encouragement for them? It's fine if you haven't.
No, I don't think so.
Well, actually, I think you just said it.
Yeah.
Just have a bash.
Yeah. Just keep trying new things, experiment, see what you can create, and work with your friends. That's what I always think.
That is a lovely tip. And lots of people say don't work with your friends, but
I think it's the best way, because you're all going to be supporting each other. Yeah. And you all want each other to be as successful as possible.
A huge part of the creative community and the network is about that coexistence and that mutual support.
you definitely need it. You need everyone to be, you need people in your corner.
Yeah.
And you want to be able to provide that for someone else as well.
Absolutely.
And yeah.
Can you send us the animation when it's finished?
I will.
Maybe we should have a little screening. Screening here.
That'd be cool.
Chloe, thank you so much for talking to me today. Have a lovely weekend.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
A Kurious Arts production.